There are no excuses. Sundus is a prime example. Tell us how we should not get replaced if we want to get into data science.
What I would say, like the most affected job family would be,
What's the most stressful part of the role?
not everybody understands the job family. So some people think like this role as like somebody who's just there to pull data for you whenever you need it.
Did you get a computer science?
No, I'm a self-taught. But here's the reality, like there were multiple instances in my career where I was held back because I don't have a master's degree. Sometimes they say like, we can't consider you for the staff role or because you don't have a master's, things like that. Like they'll say it to my face.
So do you think it's still worth it to get into data science?
One thing I would say is like, try it out before you actually commit to something, because the chances are that it may look shiny on paper, but when you actually try it, you're like, oh my God, I hate it.
Hello world, hello friends, welcome back to the channel where we talk all about tech and travel. Today I'm here with Sundas, who is a principal analytics lead at Google. Also a huge badass. She's a mom. She dropped out of high school and still has such a successful career, teaches people about career negotiations. And today we're gonna talk about the roadmap if you wanna become a data scientist, as well as is it worth it? And will you be replaced by AI? And answer all the questions you have about the different roles in data science. And also if you should get a degree if you want to get into data science. So stay tuned where we'll answer all of your questions. Thank you so much for being here, Sundas.
I'm happy to be here.
So without further ado, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me on your channel, Delia.
Thank you for coming. She's the first Googler, YouTuber I've ever followed.
And Delia and I actually did a video last year.
Yes.
Or 2 years ago,
2 years
right
ago.
before you quit your job at Google.
Yes.
So a little bit about me. I've been at Google for about 5 years. I work primarily in Google search ads space, primarily focusing on the data science domain. And before Google, I used to be at Amazon, worked there as a data engineer, pivoted to data scientist. I was there for about 6-7 years. So total in the industry, I've been here for about 11 years working in the data science domain. Like just saying that out loud makes me feel old.
But she actually has 3 kids.
No, two. Two kids. If you count my husband, that's 3 actually.
Exactly. So you basically have 5 kids, when you think about that responsibility. And the coolest part, or my favorite part about her career journey is that you dropped out of high school.
Yeah.
She has a big gap. Mm-hmm. And now she's mega successful, super mom. So super inspiring to me.
Thank you.
Yeah. So it's just really cool to hear from her because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm too old for tech, or I have this gap in my resume, or excuse. It's no, there are no excuses. Sundas is a prime example. And she's great at salary negotiations. She's killing it. But what do you think is going to be the future for data scientists? And how would you help somebody prepare?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it's actually top of mind for a lot of people. The data scientist term itself was coined in 2008 by a professor in Stanford. And since then, data science has seen an evolution of the job family. How familiar are you with data science job family? Name 2 job.
From your videos,
okay.
And from talking to you.
So name 2.
I know there's, data.
Name job families, within data science.
Oh, a data engineer versus a business analyst. Is that still in the category?
Yeah, it is. So data science is a huge job family. There is data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, AI engineer, AI scientist, machine learning engineer, and a bunch more roles that exist within the data science umbrella. When we're talking about the evolution of the data science job family itself, before 2008, before the term data scientist was coined, data scientist role was called statistician. And then after 2008, they actually got a fancier title, data scientist, and Harvard Business Review released a study saying this is the sexiest role of 21st century.
I remember that. So I remember it being very sexy.
Yeah. So over the years, during my time in the industry, what I have seen is that data science job family getting further and further segmented. I actually have covered it in a few of my videos, where previously you used to have a data scientist who used to do all the machine learning work. They used to do product data scientist focused work. They used to do data analyst focused work. But now we're seeing more and more segmentation. For example, there is a separate role for machine learning engineers. They just do machine learning. And the data scientist role itself is getting segmented into data scientist research and data scientist product. So a data scientist product works more closely with product and tries to improve the product and basically is tied to a single product or multiple products. Whereas a data scientist research is the core statistician / machine learning focus. They would like often write research papers and publish and all of that. So that's the direction the industry from the data science perspective has been heading. We're going to continue seeing more segmentation in the roles, but with the AI coming,
it's already here. But yes.
coming to take over our jobs, basically. What I would say, like the most affected job family would be anybody who is doing basic data analysis. Because like ChatGPT can already do like basic data analysis work.
Yes.
You just import the file, it automatically looks at the data, gives you solutions to clean it, and then like finds basic insights from the data. So it's only going to get better and better. So if somebody's job is just doing plain data analysis, like building reports, that work could be automated. So there are ways to build your skills so you're not easily replaceable, but I'll stop here.
No, come on, tell us how we should not get replaced if we want to get into data science.
I would say the closer you are to the actual impact where your work is not just like a cookie cutter work. For example, my work involves a lot of like stakeholder management.
Yeah, she had meetings all day today,
back to back, starting 8 a.m. till
If you want to be a data scientist, make sure you check your job family if you don't like meetings.
Yeah, because technically you have to manage a lot of stakeholders and you have to be like really creative in terms of like how you solve business problem. ChatGPT or any of the AI tools are good with problems that have been solved before, but they are not that great with like more ambiguous problems that haven't been solved yet. So the more you can like train yourself and upskill yourself to like think more logically, deal with ambiguity, because like all the tooling such as coding, such as SQL, Python, that can be written by AI. But what cannot be written by AI is like what features based on the business context you should be selecting in your machine learning model.
That's a great answer. Okay, so also work on your creativity and soft skills, managing stakeholders, all of that. Don't only focus on learning SQL.
Yeah, and also learn AI. Like
obviously, that is without. Oh well, I guess we should say it. It's not without being said, but we should say it. Learn AI. Top number thing.
Exactly.
Number one thing, and learn AI tooling. Like if you can use AI tools effectively, that is the most unreplaceable job right now, I think, for people that really know how to use AI.
You would be surprised how many people actually don't know how to use AI, which is crazy.
Actually, Sajad gave me a great recommendation because right now I'm at Microsoft Build and they sent me a PDF of my whole itinerary and schedule. And I really love the idea of uploading it to ChatGPT, asking ChatGPT to make a CSV file. And now I just imported it to Google Calendar. And I was like, oh.
Wait, you can import CSV to Google Calendar?
I've never done that before, so I never thought of doing that. But now I just like took screenshots of my whole, because I'm at 3 different conferences this week.
Okay.
And I took just photos and screenshots of like all my schedules and now uploaded it in a CSV.
Damn, I need to do that.
I know, isn't that great? So like every day I'm learning a new way to use AI and I'm just like, okay, I should spend an hour a week, like actually actively trying to automate things in my life with AI. So that is kind of what I try to do. And a lot of people don't, like nobody really thinks of doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that also applies to career-wise. I'm sure there's a lot of data science stuff you could automate with AI that people are probably not doing yet.
Yeah, I'm actually hosting a training tomorrow internally at Google where I'm going to do like a prompt engineering 101 and then dive into Notebook LM. If you haven't used Notebook LM, highly recommend it. It's like one of the best tools available for free out there. Like it's a great resource.
Is that like a Jupyter notebook?
It's kind of like a RAG, but your own RAG where you can like plug in your own documents. So you
can fine tune it that way?
So for example, like if there are like 10 different learning materials for Python. So let's say you have 10 different Python ebooks. You can plug all of those ebooks, PDFs into Notebook LM. And now it's like AI, but like using your own data. Mm-hmm. So Very then cool. You can like ask questions. So like how to join 2 data sets using Python and pandas. And it will just give you answers based on the PDFs that you have uploaded. Or you can link YouTube videos too. You can link websites too. It's really cool.
Oh, okay. I use something like that for content.
You did?
Poppy AI. Yeah, my friend's been Poppy AI, and you can upload YouTube. No.
Well, Notebook LM is.
Okay, that's so cool. I'm gonna try that.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, well, it's free for me because my friends built it, but Anyways, okay, cool. So if we wanted to learn data science from scratch now, because there's a lot of people watching that probably aren't even in data science and are just curious to, I mean, most of the people watching probably just want to get started.
Right.
What would be the ideal roadmap now with AI?
Yeah, the ideal roadmap, I would say the core skills in data science, which is coding, but there is something before that. The core skills of a data scientist is statistics and machine learning. And that wouldn't change regardless AI is here. So the reason I say that, because automated ML solutions have been here for some time, where all you do is plug and play and build your machine learning model. But even to plug and play, you need to understand what model you need to use, what features you need to use, how to understand the output, what does R square means, what does standard deviation mean, like things like that you need to understand in order to fully be able to use those automated solutions. So the first thing you should do is learn statistics, master it, learn machine learning, master it. After you have learned that, then you focus on tools to apply these skills. And when I say tools, I actually mean coding languages. So Python and SQL. SQL is how you would pull your data and manage, basically massage your data before it goes into a model. And then Python is typically how you would like do your machine learning model development, including statistics as well. Then there's obviously like notebooks, like Jupyter notebooks, Google Colab notebooks. This is basically like a IDE, but it's on a web browser based, and you write your code there to like do your analysis and build like models and so on. Machine learning, statistics, SQL, Python, some of the tools that I mentioned. Also learn, depending on which team or role you end up in, you're probably gonna have to like push and pull the code, so understand how that whole process
Version
controlling, how that works. And obviously like have a solid business and product understanding, because at the end of the day, the job of any data science or machine learning role is to apply statistics, machine learning to the actual business problems. So the better you understand that domain you are in, the better you can be in your role.
I love that. And what does the role look like? What's the day in the life of a data scientist?
It depends, typically, depending on which projects you're working on. So for example, today, all day for me, it was meetings for the first 5 hours of the day.
But also you're a principal analytics lead. Right. So as a lead, I think
you would have more meetings. Yes.
More meetings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sadly, as you grow in your career, you have more meetings because everybody wants to talk to you.
Yeah. As you grow, you have to talk to more humans. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. But so let's say if we talk about like a junior data scientist, a junior data scientist would typically, Mondays, let's say we're talking about Mondays typically end up being like a lot of like stand-ups and like weekly team meetings. So maybe you'll have 1 or 2 meetings. And then the rest of the time, depending on, let's say if you're just starting out a project, you are trying to define the problem, you could either be like looking at the data set and then going back and forth with product to understand what it actually means and what they're actually looking for, what problems they're trying to solve. And then maybe later after half of the day, you could be like just going heads down, like writing your code, writing your SQL to pull the data, writing Python to kind of like build your models. And then you could be spending days doing the same thing before you actually get to that end output of that project. And then toward the end of the project, let's say if you're in that phase, then you could be spending a lot of time either creating presentations or documents to summarize what you find and then present it.
Is that the most stressful part? What's the most stressful part of the role?
I would say the most stressful part of the role, sometimes people come to you and they don't know exactly what they're looking for. But they think like having like some fancy analysis would solve all their problems, which is not always true. So like there's a lot of education that you have to do like with stakeholders to actually get to the questions that they're trying to solve, the problems that they're trying to solve. Not everybody understands the job family. So some people think like this role as like somebody who's just there to pull data for you whenever you need it. So a lot of like stakeholder education in the data science job family typically you have to do. I would say like that's the most frustrating part.
Yeah, telling people that they don't know what they're talking
but in a nicer way.
But in a nice way. Okay, and if somebody watching wants to have your job and principal data analyst lead at Google, what is the biggest piece of advice you can give them?
I would say go to a great school. That's a piece of advice. Okay, go to a school.
You mean get a computer science degree?
Get a computer science degree or something that is related to your role.
Did you get a computer science degree?
No, I'm a self-taught. But if I could go back in time,
Really?
I would definitely go to school because honestly,
But it's expensive and it takes so much time. I kind of would rather be self-taught. I did 5 years getting 2 degrees and I don't know. I guess it helped me land my first jobs.
But here's the reality, like in the current job market, especially in the data scientist role, there's a lot of people in the market who have master's degree.
So
and
the competition.
The competition is a lot. And
She's very mindful of competition, if you couldn't tell. And even yesterday, we were trying to inspire people to become creators, but she's like,
no.
Actually, don't do it. I don't want no more competition. So now we're inspiring them to become data analysts so you can quit your job and become a creator.
No.
Strategy.
But honestly, like the reason I'm saying that because I feel like a huge imposter sometimes because there is a term in machine learning called feature engineering. When I became a self-taught, like all these things that are fundamental core concepts, I didn't learn that because I wasn't following like a detailed curriculum. I was doing work on the job. And it took me forever to like learn that feature engineering basically means you're selecting columns from a data set to input into your machine learning model. So like which columns should be your feature input for a machine learning model. So like this is just a very simple example, but there are many small things that
That's like feature selection, right?
Feature
That's
selection,
the same thing? Okay,
yeah, it's basically that. There are many small things that you will learn at school and you probably miss if you are doing it on your own. So if I were to do it all over again, I'll definitely go back to school and either get a degree in data science or get a degree in computer science with focus on machine learning and statistics.
That is honestly pretty good advice. I think it's, especially now with the age of AI, it becomes more and more valuable to have, to stand out with a degree.
Yeah.
But it depends how much time and money you're willing to invest because it could still be done either way. I think it's still possible to get self-taught jobs.
I agree. And not to be a pessimist, but one more example I want to give. There were multiple instances in my career where I was held back because I don't have a master's degree.
Really?
Yes. When I transitioned from data engineer to data scientist role, HR made a big fuss that I don't have a master's degree in data science. And I was lucky to have a manager who was supporting me. And he went and talked to HR and was like, why are you so adamant that she has a master's degree when she can actually do the work? Even recently, when I talk to the recruiters, sometimes they say like, we can't consider you for the staff role or because you don't have a master's, things like that. Like they'll say it to my face. But self-taught, I'm a self-taught. There are many people who are self-taught. It is definitely an option if you're disciplined and can put in the work.
So do you think it's still worth it to get into data science?
100%. If that's what you're passionate about, it's definitely worth getting into. It doesn't matter if it's data science or if it's something else. One thing I would say is like try it out before you actually commit to something, because the chances are that it may look shiny on paper, but when you actually try it, you're like, oh my God, I hate it. So you don't want to spend all that money on a degree program and realize I actually hate this job.
That's a very, very good point. So thank you so much for sharing all of that, Sundas. That was very inspirational. I hope all of you got some value out of that. Leave what your favorite part was down below or any questions you might have for Sundas. And obviously check out her channel, which is like way bigger, down below. Follow her on the other socials as well because she posts some great content. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. Thank you guys for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.
Bye.